Hello YouTube and welcome back to Supreme Commander 2! Today I've got a little bit of a special treat for you guys. I just recently cast one of my own matches from the tournament and thought while I'm here I might as well do a completely for fun match. This is a 6-player free-for-all with some relatively low-level players. Just myself and some friends from my Discord messing around in a free-for-all on the Boras Naval Test Range. And it was kind of funny. It was hilarious. I thought this was a funny match. And it ended up being super close. So if you enjoy casual matches with big experimental units being tossed around, then stay tuned and keep watching. This is going to be an entertaining one. Let's go ahead and introduce our players. In the red, playing as the Aeon Illuminate, we have myself in the bottom left position. I'm going to be going into double land. Keep in mind this is a free-for-all, which means the build orders, the plans are going to be a little bit differently. In the green, playing as the UEF, we have a bot, because we didn't have a 6th player online at the time. So I have a bot neighbor who's just going to be doing bot things. In the right middle, playing as the white Cybran, we have Reaper of Death 24 going into early radar and hiccups. Into economic expansion, not too worried about any early military. Typically, the casual games in my Discord, we don't often rush each other, so he's probably not too concerned about that. Now, that being said, I very much intended in this match to kill my nearest neighbor. It just so happened to be the bot. So Reaper, poor man, did get lucky, dodged the bullet there. I apologize if I kill him or kill you in the next match, Mr. Reaper. Playing in the top right is the blue Aeon Illuminate. We have Big Hank 94. Hank can go into double air. I didn't know he did this, actually, during the match. Double air opener's not bad, especially in a 1v1 setting, which whoever he engages with first, that's probably what it would end up being, at least at first. So double air here, I actually don't hate that. It's going to go into research and economy after that. We'll see how this pans out for him. Playing in the top left as the mustard yellow, as I like to call it. I always call this mustard, but it's more like I guess like an olive green. It's vomit green. Anyway, playing as the mustard color here, we have some bullshit, forever known as Lance, because I don't want to say his whole name the entire time for this match. He's going to go first air as UEF and into research spam. Now, for anybody who's played this game a lot, please forgive him for this. Lance has actually only recently acquired the game. He got the game to play with all of us in the Discord. And so this is like his 3rd ever match or something. So, you know, forgive him. He actually ended up doing some funny stuff as well, so we actually are going to keep an eye on him. And then last but not least, playing in the far left position, left middle, playing as the purple Cybran, we have Savage CBXD, calling him Savage, and he is going to go double Navy. Of course, going in on the Navy build here on a map like this, it makes complete sense. Walker legs, the open ocean here in the middle. Is this map fair, quote unquote? Well, that's up for debate. But again, this was a casual match. We're actually going to speed things up here now that the introductions are done. This match does take a hot minute, so we're just going to speed things up a little bit until we get into some action. We're going to see the bot doing some light harassment on Mr. Reaper of Death here. Reaper is going to be under some fire here just from a couple bombers, and he has very much not gone into any kind of military. He is focused on research. I imagine he's going for maybe he's trying to get to Megalith. I don't remember exactly what he said he was going for. We were all in voice chat for this match. He was trying to do something, but he's going to get harassed here by the UEF Navy from the bot. The bot loves to build Tiger Sharks and the missile boats. Oh, damn. I promise I know the name. Of course, now that they want it, it's just gone. Just completely gone. Meanwhile, Savage here, not really going into any kind of early Navy. He's going to wait for the battleships. He doesn't need Salems. He knows he's going to get left alone long enough for him to go into something else. So he's going to forgo the Salems here. Meanwhile, Hank spamming out those fighter bombers from the air factories, although it looks like he's put them on pause to get a little bit of anti-air defense and to get his research up and moving. Lance, having gone double research and actually stopped his build order short of building all of those research stations, for which I am proud of him, and gonna instead switch into a land factory in its place. He's not using it just quite yet. He's got fighters going on. Keeping in mind, I think at this point, he didn't actually realize that these couldn't shoot the ground. He didn't know they were anti-air only, probably because the other factions he played had fighter bombers. Meanwhile, I am getting into the AI here. I have gone sniper bots like a monster would, honestly. I did miss it, but the AI graciously sent an engineer down here while I was still building this mass, and I helped myself to one of their engineers. This Mastodons, there we go, the Mastodon missile cruisers. Either way, my objective here is going to be to shut down the naval production here for the bot, not wanting to deal with these accursed Mastodons harassing me from offshore. Also going to be saving Ricky from that fate as well, since it looks like he's the chosen first target of the AI here. Commander going to move in an attempt to stem the tide here. But the bot is, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your point of view here, bad. Yeah, he's just super bad, and he's going to die very quickly. I don't remember everything discussed pre-match, but I think actually it was like nobody else wanted the bot next to them, so I voluntarily had it next to myself. And I think perhaps that was a mistake. I do play a little bit more often than the other guys in here, so perhaps I should have given myself a slightly larger handicap here. But let me know in the comments, do you think this was a fair match? Was this balanced? We shall see. In the meantime, I have gone all in on the land production here. I've been left unharassed by my neighbor. Honestly, at this point in time, Savage should have been pumping out those destroyers, or those battleships, excuse me, and probably been harassing me early on, because I didn't really have anything to stop any early harassment from battleships here. In fact, I didn't even really have any land units. Speaking of battleships, though, the AI has finally researched them, and it's going to have these Poseidons coming out and doing some damage here. They're going to be harassing Reaper here. Reaper, I believe, in the voice chat was at this point like, oh, well, the AI is going to kill me because he went battleships, and I just don't have anything against that right now. Because as you can see, he did not get into the Navy. He's got fighters coming out, and he's got land units coming out, and that's it. He is not currently aware that the AI is dead. He's dead. I've killed him. There is precious little left for the AI at this point. His only real production being this factory. It is going to take me far too long to kill this, if I remember right. I kept sending in like 4 units at a time to just deal with it, thinking, just get it over with, and then ended up taking longer than I needed to sort this problem. We're actually going to speed it up again, just while we wait to get into things. Meanwhile, Lance has discovered the beauty of the air transport, and because nobody has told him not to, he has taken his commander and moved him to the edge of the screen. And I did not realize how early on it did this. What a rat. I hope he watches this video later. You rat. No. Oh, you're so annoying. In the meantime, I have finally, at last, killed this factory. There's only a couple mass extractors left now for the AI. And I have a single bot going around and slowly cleaning up remains here. There we go. The AI is dead. At long last, we see some action developing here. Reaper's going to be going into mobile missile launchers and adapter spam, it looks like. He's got patrolling fighter bombers around his base, getting ready to go. Savage, meanwhile, has gone all in on executioners. He's also gone all in on building a bomb into the middle of his base. This is awful. This is terrible. I love you, Savage. Best of much love. Don't do this, guys. Guys, if you ever get into a late game match of Supreme Commander 2, whether casually with friends or if you somehow find yourself in a more serious 1v1 against somebody and it gets into the late game, do not build a brick of mass converters in the middle of your base. Yeah, because once this goes up, all this from probably this shield generator to this mass extractor, maybe even this shield generator, all of that blows up. These energy generators, all of this here, it just blows up. All it takes is one pass, really, of a good bombing run, and all of this dies. Every single bit of that dies. Meanwhile, I've gone all in on the spam. I'm just well and truly prepared. I have scouted and seen on radar what is coming. I know that these Executioner class ships are getting stacked up here. I'm also well familiar with Savage's playstyle, and I'm well aware that he's going to be Navy spamming. So I am preparing a fighter cloud to help deal with his air that I am sure is coming, and I am getting up a huge blob of just sniper bots with the bada boom armor boosters mixed in here and there with the unit teleport upgrade so that I can deal with this amount of ridiculousness. Let's go ahead and get to the +10 because, as I mentioned, this is a casual match. Everybody's kind of just taking it easy, and I don't think I wanted to be the first one to kick things off. I was waiting to see if anybody else would fight each other, and at some point, I think I decided it's been too long and start attacking my two neighbors here. I don't remember which one it is that I attacked first. Meanwhile, in the back lines, oh, Hank. Poor Hank. Hank has built, we'll find just, he's built experimental sea hunters. Hank has played this before, but not often, so I don't remember if he knew these were terrible or not, but these are terrible. They have okay damage, frankly, if you can get them to work right. The little drones that actually deal the damage here are kind of jank, don't always work correctly. But if they shoot, they do actually have okay damage. The problem is that they're made of glass. 10,000 health on a Will Find Ya as an experimental compared to the 15,300 health just for a battleship. Yeah, Sea Hunter, it is not. They're terrible. They're terrible. They have no health. They're basically made of paper mache. So unfortunately here, Hank is going to find himself in a bit of an awkward position when using these Will Finds, but use them he also is aware of what Savage is doing with his navy here. In the meantime, Lance has built up is building AC-1000s and building up a fair number of them. Yeah, he's gone all in on them. He's decided not to build too many land forces, it seems, and is in actually only building anti-air from his land factory. Yeah, honestly, what a legend. This is like his third game. I can't even be mad. This is hilarious. Switching to Urchinouts here for Hank. Reaper, meanwhile, has decided he would like to finish the tech tree, and so is building Proto Brains. I did mention... Oh, no. This is ridiculous. I did mention that this is a low-level game. This is a for fun match, but please do not be too harsh in the comments on these players. We are just having fun at this point. There is a reason I'm casting this match. I promise. It's not 3 hours of us staring each other down. It's like, well, I guess it's gonna end up being like an hour and a half. But you know, I'm at ×10 speed. It's fine. In the meantime, factory missile is going to come out and hit Hank a little bit. I don't remember if he noticed or cared. Urchinauts coming up. Hank deciding instead to do something about the amount of battleships coming out of Savage's base here. They are not being moved with control click, so it looks like they are going to formation bug all over the place and die horrendously. I actually could not see this engagement happening, so we're gonna spectate this for a minute. Was it? What's the there we go. Well, you. Lots of the shots missing here, but as you can see, once the Sea Hunters are landing shots on the target, they do actually kill them quite quickly. Honestly, it's a bit of a wasted unit here. It's a bit tragic that these got done this way, because they actually could have been not bad if they added as a proper drone carrier and the drones left the mothership to some degree to go and do things. They could have actually been an okay unit, I think, but instead they are only going to take out a fraction of their cost here. Loyalty guns being employed, though, along with the Darkanoid as well as gunships. Those going to be more than enough here with the fiber bomber support. Excuse me, stumbled over my words there. More than enough to shoo this away. In the meantime, I have decided now is an excellent time for me to go in of my own accord. Gonna fly into a ton of anti-air here, though. I was not aware of just how much anti-air Savage was building in his backline. And those fighter bombers with upgrades going to be more than enough to take on my wasp spam here. I'm actually going to be forced to withdraw here, hoping to draw him into my own anti-air from the factories in order to cause him some more losses and then catch him on the retreat. That is what I'm going to do here, so I'm going to deal some losses back to him. Neither of us really getting much done there. This entire navy is going to get cleaned up for the most part, and a Darkanoid is going to trace its way across the map here, but it's immediately going to get vaporized by those Geminis. Going to crash and kill the naval factory, as in this game the crashing Darkanoids are often more effective than the Darkanoids themselves. I regret, although they are still a very cool unit, so I don't care. I usually build them anyway. Yeah. Hank taking a bit of a beating there in this attack. He has gotten the Space Temple up, though. He's going to be ready for some teleport. He's starting to get out those Universal Colossi. He's got tons of research stations. He's got more than enough to get the things that he wants. In the meantime, I'm attempting to get up enough economy in terms of energy production to start doing something with all those experimental factories. In the meantime as well, we're going to see some attacks out from Reaper. Reaper going to press my front line here and deal some decent damage, but is going to find that my my front line is a little bit too strong for basic land units, and my fighters too thick in the skies for proto-brains to be able to do much of anything, because they're, you know, they're proto-brains. So gonna walk into this line of turrets here and get almost nothing accomplished, unfortunately for Reaper. He did not have these experimental units out yet. I moved in here and poked a little bit, killed these factories. He did not use the power detonate. His commander was actually here, and I don't think I knew that at the time. Killed the nuke defense / missile silo. I'm going to teleport out. I believe I actually back off here, having felt I taught Mr. Reaper a lesson, and I didn't actually want to kill him yet, because if I killed him, there would be no buffer between myself and Mr. Hank up here in the north, and I knew that I did not want to be fighting Hank and Savage at the same time. These are the two most skilled players in the lobby besides myself, and I did not want to find myself in 2v1 if I did not have to. In the meantime, I did not realize the scale that Lance had done in the back lines here. He has an absolute brick of AC-1000s. That's going to be one, let's see, God, 20? At least 20? 1, 2, 3, 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 4 by 7. That's, oh geez, 28. Yeah, 28. God, I am always so loath to do math on recordings because inevitably, no matter how good at math I am normally, I screw it up if I'm recording. But yeah, that should be right about 28 plus a couple extras, I think. So coming up on 30 AC1000s, especially with these extras that have just come off the line. He's got Sky Factories coming off the line as well. He doesn't know how to use them, I don't think, but it doesn't matter. They make an excellent source of AA and damage soaking. He's got a huge fighter swarm, a huge gunship swarm, all in on the air play here, and I had absolutely no idea. I had no clue. I felt pretty confident about my own little group of AC-1000s down here at the time. I was also building nuke missile launchers. I had established defense silos throughout my base. I was well and prepared in my mind for any threat. Now, the reason I didn't know, despite having the Illuminator, is I believe the Illuminator's range is like out here. So I knew that there were AC-1000s up. I just did not realize quite how many. Savage here, still going in on the naval production and the fighter bomber production. He doesn't really need much else either on this map. Theoretically, this is more than enough. If he gets to critical mass numbers, even the experimentals can't kill them fast enough. Yeah, and I elected not to go for Space Temple or Tactical Missile memes here, just because, well, to be perfectly honest, I didn't want to make anybody mad at me. And knew for sure the second somebody broke that rule, that broke that line, everybody else would as well. Savage, for example, had not built cyber and artillery spam, knowing that it would 100% get him murdered by at least 3 other people. So there's kind of some unspoken rules here. They weren't actually set. He was more than allowed to do this. However, with all of us being in VC, if somebody were to build the cyber and artillery or the UEF artillery, everyone else would know about it immediately, and they would find themselves focused. So all of us kind of played into that without really saying it out loud, but it was discussed after the match, I believe, that nobody did that because everybody was like, no, are you kidding? I'm going to get 2v1'd if I do that. It's a good way to die. I'll kill one person and then immediately lose the match. Reaper here, trying to get gunships up. Unfortunately for Reaper, he's just not managing his resources well enough, I don't think. He doesn't really have enough energy to be using all of these mass converters. He could get away with probably, oh, I don't know, a third of this. What's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. Yeah, 15 here would have been more than enough. I think I myself really only had 10 and was just on top of using them. I had hotkeyed them. If you're new to Supreme Commander and don't know, you can hotkey units by holding Control and then a number. So for me, I love to hotkey my mass converters, so I just held Control and 1, and then I could press 1 and immediately bring up my mass converters and convert mass no matter where I was without having to go back and find them each and every time. Yeah, so I think if Reaper had perhaps halved or even quartered the amount of converters he had built, focused on converting what he did have, expanding his production capabilities, he might have actually been to the point of being a pretty serious threat here. But as it stands right now, I would say Reaper is probably the weakest player on the map, followed shortly, but only just by Hank. Hank, still a pretty credible threat, but he just simply lacks the numbers at the moment. These Urchinels, not nearly as much of a threat. These are all Colossi. He would be a much more serious threat. Next up is probably Savage with this much air, followed up by his battleship spam. Next up after that again is gotta be, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's gotta be Lance. Yeah, Lance with this sheer volume of AC-1000s is an enormous threat to anybody since, yeah, he may not be able to withstand any kind of real attack, as we're about to see, but it doesn't matter, because anybody who attacks him is going to face so much revenge value from the sheer volume of aircraft here that they're sure to find themselves very close to death. And I believe we are about to see an example of that right now. In the meantime, at the same time that this fight is going on, with Lance not quite sure how to maneuver his units properly as they're attempting to formation move, which, as we all know, is bug to hell, I am moving in on these battleships, going to be eating some big shots out of these battleships here. The Executioner is going to be doing massive damage to any units that they manage to make contact with, but because of the predictive shots coming out of these battleships, The sniper bots are actually going to make a pretty good showing of themselves here, killing plenty of ships as they go. It's actually going to be the fighter bombers here who do the most damage to me. If he was splitting them up and targeting multiple places at once via manual control rather than letting them do their own thing, they would actually be killing me pretty quickly here. Battleship's going to be falling left, right, and center, along with the production facilities, as this huge group of sniper bots moves in and just tears apart everything that enters their firing range. Yeah, just going to absolutely tear them up. Let's check on this fight up here in the north. Hank has gone in and managed to kill the overwhelming majority of the production facilities here. Mass converters are going to go up. Lance is going to be reduced to very little here, but only because he's not using his full force. For whatever reason, he's keeping the majority of his forces in reserve. Not that it matters, because there's almost no anti-air here. Yeah, all of this air units coming in are also gunships. Going to be very easy prey for the focused anti-air tanks, the Arcanists, as well as the AC-1000s and Sky Factories, provided they focus on them. Especially while the gunships are being distracted and not really firing back. Yeah, lots of damage here. Gonna be taken on both sides. These land units attempting to press forwards. Again, not all of the forces being used here, but this, I believe, is going to eventually get cleaned up. What's going on down here? Oh, that's right. I've sent my Colossi forward. Lost all of my land units. Killed most of the Navy. I've not been able to do much of anything to these fighter bombers, but against this many Colossi, it doesn't matter. It's going to take several passes for these fighter bombers to kill these Colossi with impunity. Now, they are going to kill them, make no mistake. 100%, but here we go. This is what I was talking about. Boom! Up goes the entire center line for Savage here. Savage at this point is heavily crippled. Energy production going down. Mass converters are down. Most of his navy is destroyed. I'm in his center line. I'm destroying the boomerang anti-nukes. He's only got his air forces here. For some reason, there is the Space Temple has moved in from Hank here. Why Hank has switched targets, I'm not sure. I believe they temporarily... Yeah, there we go. He's going to move it back over to Lance. Lance has managed to clean up this entire force, though. He's going to prevent further bleeding. He's going to stem the tide here, just barely. But again, only because he did not use his entire battle group for some reason. I am at this point concerned. I did send my air in. I missed the air fight, but I had sent my air in to support my units here, and they got slaughtered. I severely underestimated the sheer volume of fighter bombers present for Savage. So while I've done severe damage to him here, these fighters are going to be a problem. I do not have anything to stop these fighter bombers, and indeed, if he were to find my commander with that many fighter bombers, there would be very precious little that I could do about it. Speaking of which, where is my commander? Let's find him. Maybe. Let's find him, maybe. I actually have no idea where he's at. Where is he gone? Where is the cheeky little shit? Oh, we'll find him in a minute. In the meantime, first nukes are out. Now, I believe here I was trying to hit the fighter group, but I did not catch them. Yeah. Nope. I was hoping he would position them, but Savage is paying attention, moves his fighters away from the explosion. So nothing going to be accomplished by this first nuke now, and now the rest of the players are aware that it's out. I can't nuke the production here because of these boomerangs. Boomerangs would send this directly into my back line. It wouldn't really kill a whole lot of great importance, but it would still be rather irritating. Control K'd this guy because he was stuck. Huge fighter group now moving in. I have tried to prepare by building the Air Nomos, experimental anti-air, experimental. That was kind of redundant, wasn't it? Also going to attempt to once again catch out these fighters with a nuke. But again, it's going to be a miss. Terrible nukes from me here. I should have just nuked right here into this spot. Wiped them out. My entire swarm of fighters, or excuse me, AC-1000s is going to get found here, which is deeply unfortunate for me. Nuclear missile is going to be targeted down here. This is actually a mistake, I think, from Mr. Savage. B is, I cannot find my commander myself. I think he's actually in here somewhere. But either way, if he'd been able to find my commander... There he is. Look at him. He's hunkered up. If he had focused my commander with these first few passes instead, he definitely could have killed him. And I do believe that this is on assassination mode, if I recall correctly. We're going to manage to move most of my AC-1000s out of the way here. Sky Factory is going to be taking huge damage, though. They are too slow to get out of the way, out of the line of fire here. And they are going to go down without really taking too much with them, unfortunately. But I am going to use them to try to draw the fighter cloud back over top of the Air Nomos. The Air Nomo is going to be the saving grace here, tearing apart huge amounts of these fighters as they funnel in, trying to take passes at my air experimentals. Production going up in flames right now. My entire UES side of my base, all that counter technology is absolutely getting hammered. And there's not a whole lot I can do about it right now. All of my anti-air being slow and not maneuverable. Also facing an attack here on the side from Reaper. Reaper has smashed through this front line and is pressing his advance. For some reason, he's backing off. I believe I mentioned to him in the voice chat, I'm already fighting Savage, leave me alone. And he chose to back away for the time being. Honestly, though, he probably should have pressed in. But I will take the piece with it as I can, because I don't think I actually could have... Well, yeah, I could have. I could have handled this, but it would have been rough. In the meantime, my AC-1000s have elected to re-engage. They're going to go in completely on Savage's base here. Colossi is moving in. These fighters now not being dragged over to deal with this problem means that the entire base here is going to go up in smoke, pressing for the counterattack. Sniper bots dealing with the Navy. AC-1000s and Colossi dealing with the base. Looking to shut this game out. I want to find his commander and end this match. AC-1000 is going to seal the deal here. ACU escape pod. I didn't actually notice it at the time, but it is going to get set upon by all of the AC-1000s and killed. And no, you know what? Actually, it looks like this is supremacy. All of the buildings here for Savage gonna go down. Now, we did have the bug in this match that it presents itself in the large battles on occasion. Another fight here being fought over Lance's base. Bug being present here is the one where occasionally buildings sometimes just disappear and are invisible to the opponent, so I actually cannot see this mass extractor. Otherwise, of course, the Colossi would be killing it. So at this point in the match, I'm like, why can't I kill you? And now I'm having to deal with these leftover fighter bombers. I believe I also couldn't see this anti-air tower. Big fight now happening, though. Air Nomos attempting to staunch the bleeding here of these land forces to the AC-1000 spam, but there's just not enough. AC-1000 is going to continue to kill everything on the ground with absolute impunity. Well, maybe if we engage. Moving to engage these land forces, still coming in through the warp point here. Hank, meanwhile, preparing massive amounts of air and then being engaged now by Reaper. Reaper, tons of adapters, could actually take care of a good number of these Darkanoid saucers without too much worry. The naval units here also being plenty capable of dealing out some anti-air damage. Gonna shoot down some of these Darkanoids here and now, I believe, at great AoE cost to themselves, though, because once those corpses fall, they're going to take a bunch of these ships with them. I'm sending out scouting units, trying to figure out where is that. Savage is finally defeated and out of the match, turning this into a 1, 2, 3, 4 player game now. The bot having long been dead. Darkanoid's taking huge focus fire from the adapters, going to absolutely melt them out of the sky, but oh, just barely dodging huge AoE damage there from the falling wreckage. Monkey Lord also going to be good for tearing down any land units or factories that get in the way, and air not going to really be capable of shutting them down, not with this many adapters in the skies. Adapters going to absolutely melt any air units that they see. But oh, yep, there it is. Darkanoid's falling and killing a huge number of those land units. Still a fair few adapters out, though. Gonna be enough to shut down at least one more. And there it goes. Ricky not managing, excuse me, Reaper. He goes by Ricky in the Discord, can you tell? Reaper not managing his units very effectively here, though. Is going to take a bunch of damage, and I unknowingly moved in right after his forces had been sent elsewhere. And now am dealing huge damage inside his base, but I've actually been forced to withdraw as there's an incoming assault from Lance. Lance now attacking me on the other side, engaging my forces as they move across the map here. Me looking to shut down the forces of Hank. Hank facing an increasingly never-ending onslaught from multiple players here. Reaper's final forces moving in to engage him here and kill as much stuff as they can. My basic land units now moving across. I accidentally built a bunch of slip tacks here like a moron. But either way, Sniper Bot's going to be dealing some damage here. Plenty of Crocodiles mixed in to shoot down the gunships and Darkanoids as they move in for the kill here. Darkanoids, though, going to make short work of these land forces with their giant laser beams and falling corpses. I'm facing, at this point, a 3v1 as I have engaged all three players. I'm fighting Lance back at home with a huge amount of AC-1000s and gunships in my base, attempting to shut me down here. Facing a much-deserved 3v1 now. Lance still not engaging with his full force. If he had, I probably would have been in some serious, serious trouble already. Reaper's effectively been destroyed, and I'm attempting to move on into Hank's base. Reaper crying out for me to simply finish him if I'm going to do that much damage, which is fair. Monkey Lord going to kill every single one of these air nomos single-handedly because the air nomo land attack is garbage, and I did not realize he had a Monkey Lord there waiting for me. Hank gonna manage to fend off my attacks here, but at great cost. Most of his base is destroyed. Most of his armies destroyed. He's left with what you see here, but he's gonna continue to pump out experimentals, and he's gonna attempt to rebuild with what little he has remaining. One anti-nuke is still available here. Reaper is dead and gone. The Air Force is continuing to plague me. We're gonna slow the game down now as we finally get into some real action. Air Force is absolutely plaguing me. Lance doing a seriously good job here of shutting me down. I just barely managed to clean up the full send of his air forces here at the cost of pretty much everything. I was very certain at this point in the match that the game was over. I was not confident at all in my ability to survive here. Attempting to stay in the match with my Crocodile anti-air units, trying to shoot down these accursed gunships. I'm going to self-nuke here to take out the gunships over the top of my base. I managed to shoot down the Surpriser, but now there's land forces moving in. Going to upgrade my commander with overcharge ability to deal with these. The air nomos hopefully able to clean up the last little bits here, the last dregs. Land forces now sweeping through my base. But thankfully these are just bada booms. Going to clean these up slowly with the air factories. Mega fortresses. I'm so frazzled at this point in the match. I can barely keep up with everything that's going on. Still got some air nomos in the top of the base that I'm not even using at this point. At this point, it is a 1v1 between myself and Hank, and there is somewhere out there Lance in a transport with his commander moving places. I have no idea where he's at, and I've not been able to find him. I'm too occupied with the amount of stuff coming in. Urchinau assault blocks attempting to come in, but without any anti-air support, the Mega Fortresses are eventually going to be able to clean those up slowly over time. Some air nomos in as a desperate last defense here to slow these air nomos down and allow the Mega Fortresses time to kill these Urchinaus. Excuse me, time trying to slow the Urchinaus down. And with that, I have just barely going to be using my commander even to kill Hank's air nomos. Trying to clean up. I'm just attempting to stabilize here. I've not been able to stabilize forever. It's been probably a good 15 minutes of constant fighting in my base. My base is completely destroyed. I have almost nothing left. If Hank were to send in some real forces here, I would have no ability to stop him whatsoever. I'm attempting to scout here. I'm looking to see what he's got. I realize that he's low on forces, then, and if I can just live long enough to get to his base with something, I can actually probably do some damage. But the problem is I don't actually have anything. These two colossi are the limits of my military strength at this point. I have no economy. I have no mass extractors, really, to speak of. I'm out of everything. Meanwhile, unaware that Lance has survived, I missed where he did not die. I thought I had killed him. I missed his survival. He is reestablishing, of all things, on the opposite side of the map from where I last encountered him. I thought at most, or at worst, he was just in a transport somewhere, memeing around. I did not realize that he was actually attempting to come back into this match. Huge props to some bullshit here for refusing to die. Absolutely refusing to give in and attempting to rebuild from scratch and make himself a credible threat. And to be completely fair, if he has given enough time here in this little corner by himself to re-establish, there is every possibility that he does once again become a threat. I have decided to take a gamble. In the meantime, I have sent my commander, while I use engineers, to attempt to rebuild the shattered remains of my base here, the absolutely destroyed shell. I am going to find Lance here with fighters, so now I know he's alive, the jig is up. But in the meantime, I'm betting that Hank is not going to expect my commander to be so close to him, so I'm using my commander personally to expand into the north here, hoping that he doesn't decide to send any real forces after him. Now, he does have the teleport ability unlocked at this point in the game, so if he did, I could have left if absolutely necessary. Sending an AC-1000 here to close Lance out of this game. Going to shut him down once more, and he's going to escape. Hank, with the Space Temple, is going to teleport into the middle of my base again, and it's going to do absolutely enormous damage here, and I don't have anything in my base once again to deal with this. I am slowly re-expanding, hoping to get some damage done here. Some Colossi going to move in and attempt to do something here, but there was Urchinaus and a Surpriser waiting for them. Simply too much firepower for the Colossi to handle right now. These air nomos going to make it impossible, or at least difficult, to deal with this here. Should have used the electroshock ability here to shoot down, or at least do damage to these experimentals, but my brain was just so frazzled at this point in the match. Sniper bot's going to eventually deal with this, and they do. More units, Colossus in my main base, once again tearing apart this entire midsection of my base. Sniper bots being sent, streamed in to attempt to try to deal with this in some form or fashion. Eventually going to barely shut it down. There it goes. Urchinau soon to follow. Another teleport. More forces coming in. I'm facing a constant, continuous harassment here from Hank. Hank doing an excellent job at just attempting to really press his damage, and I believe I got in through the beacon when this teleport happened with a Colossi of Moan. Managed to kill the anti-nuke, managed to kill the Space Temple. Killing the Space Temple here completely is going to slow Hank down. This is the big thing doing the damage to me. This is what I needed in this match. Facing this constant, never-ending harassment was proving to be an absolute nightmare, and I was just simply not able to stabilize. My resources had not recovered. I managed to get some factories back up, and thanks to my commander's efforts up here in the north, I managed to get some mass extractors without Hank really realizing or understanding what a problem that was for him. He has not reestablished his economy at all. He's not rebuilding his mass extractors. He's attempting to make it work with just the converters. Nuclear missiles being built here in the background. The missile is producing, but has not been ready to fire for quite some time. I am, in the meantime, Not aware, I don't think, of the threat that the nuclear missiles pose to me. I do have some existing lingering anti-nuke silos in some of my core areas. Lance, meanwhile, again, being a nuisance, and I'm unaware of it at this point, just simply because I don't expect it. Fat Boy's here, gonna start tearing through some of my factories. Yeah, Lance absolutely refusing to die, still alive, up here in the north, in a transport, being guarded by Hank's base, making it difficult for me to find him. At this point in the game, all of the players have gone nearly silent in the voice chat, such as the focus being presented here. I am fighting for my life at this point. I did not realize how strong I was. I was looking at my center base, I was looking at my right base, and I was looking at my north base going, God, I have nothing. And then I was seeing this land force from Hank and thinking that he could probably end the game if he wanted. Thinking that it was only his refusal to attack that was preventing me from death. For example, if he had sent them off to the north, to the left, I mean, I did not think I could survive, forgetting the fact that he would have had nothing at home to defend against my counterattack. Nuclear missile going to get stopped here just barely by the anti-nuke from this single surviving defense silo. The only one, I think, out of the initial set that I built to survive in my main base. I got lucky. I got extremely lucky. If he had hit my army, if he had hit my commander, if he'd sent it really anywhere else, I would not have been able to stop it. His land forces now having to be used defensively. I've killed his mass converters once again here. I've killed his nuclear missile silo. He's being forced to start that process all over again. Suppriser are going to be used to shut down these sniper bots. Sniper bots not being microed here. I'm so frazzled at this point in the match that I'm forgetting how to micro individual units. At this point, I am focused on trying to find and kill Lance because I do not want to continue to face harassment from him. The last few sniper bots going to be sent in here, teleported at the last second as I noticed that they are under fire. Killing some factories here, but not really accomplishing too much. Hank hanging on for dear life, setting these converters back up so he can start pulling in resources again. Honestly, if he just re-expanded, excuse me, to his mass extractors, he might have been able to pull something out here. I was so frazzled at this point in the match that up until right now, pretty much, when I started making these big forces again, up until right now, he probably would have stood a fairly decent chance at securing a morale victory over me and getting me to either control K or putting me so on the defensive if he would have had time to recover. He just needed a little bit more resources. Finding the AC-1000s here for Lance, I thought I had finally caught and killed some bullshit, the absolute legend who refuses to die in this intense 1v1. His commander is still being sent out across the map as the only thing of his left alive in a transport. Normally, I would find this sort of tactic extremely, extremely frustrating, irritating, and pointless, but it being one of Lance's first few matches, I believe I can forgive him, and it wasn't as though he was hiding. He was actively attempting to find a place to build and come back into this match, so I actually really appreciate that. Refusing to die, attempting to do something to the strongest player on the match. He wasn't doing something silly like harassing Hank, because of course that would make no sense. You're going to stay in the match and do something like this, do the thing that makes sense, which is to attack the strongest player. Aeronamo is going to shoot away the fighter bombers, but the bomber's going to come in and deal some damage here, blow up a few buildings, get the converters once again. Going in for the snipe on Hank's commander. And gonna get it. The commander goes down. And with that, Hank is out of engineers. He has nothing left with which to build back into this match. I was unaware of this fact, and again, my own lack, my morale victory really being secured here. I was very convinced at this point, even still, that I could not win yet.
Strategic launch detected.
Strategic missile launch is going to go in an attempt to close out this game. I'm not even sure if they're going to land, but I'm going to find that they do. And at this point now, of course, I realize that I have more than enough strength to close this match out. Most of the army and production center are going to go up in flames here with those nukes. Hank's going to control K out, calling the match to a close. Now all that's left is to find Lance. Still alive, somehow, as the last player of the match now, hiding in his transport, gonna use the Illuminator, and I'm gonna spot him. Oh wait, no, not quite yet. Those fighters came so close to finding him, and I didn't even know it. Goodness. In any case, while we wait for the closeout there, oh, Lance is going to control K. I was right next to him. In any case, this was in an extremely close match. I kind of casted it at a much faster pace than I normally would, simply because of the length of the game. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. This has been a much longer cast. If you want to see more of these casual matches, more of these longer matches, then do let me know in the comments. I know that this is not exactly the pro level gameplay that I usually post, but I just thought this was a fun one. It was actually a very close fight there at the end with everything in my base and everything in everyone else's base. I just thought this was an enjoyable one. This is a really fun match to play. This is a really fun casual match. So if you want to see more videos like this one, be sure to let me know in the comments. I believe I will, for the most part, still be posting the shorter pro level 1v1 matches on the channel, but I thought that perhaps something like this every so often isn't so bad. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.